A Severe Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chelsea Simmons.
We're dry. It's been a little muggy, a little kind of yucky out there, but some folks to our south, severe thunderstorm warning, correct?
That has actually expired. They changed it over to a special weather statement. That's just that step down. Still a strong thunderstorm though for places moving into Yalobusha County, just north of Grenada County is where we are tracking that thunderstorm. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavier rainfall, and my main concern with this thunderstorm, especially just outside of our area north of that Grenada County line and just west of Yalobusha County, is the potential for some flooding conditions because that rain isn't moving much. Now you can see a few more of those thunderstorms that have continued to pop up south of Coffeyville, just on the western side of Calhoun County. That will continue to slowly track more inside of our area. Now, one thing that we are watching is a lot of lightning. You can just see how many lightning strikes are out there. South of Coffeyville, that storm is continuing to build. That could push in closer towards Bruce over the next 30 minutes or so. One more thunderstorm also down closer towards Winona, and that heavy rain just starting to push in. That's continuing some of that heavier rainfall to track there along 55, and with all that lightning out there, it's not for everybody, but a few of those thunderstorms, very electric. So if you hear that thunder roar, go indoors. I know you probably hear that a lot, especially with these summertime pop-up thunderstorms, because we want you to make sure you are staying as safe as possible. So if you're out trying to cool off from the heat in the swimming pool, head inside for a while, cool off, and then once that thunderstorm pushes through, then you can go back outside. Tupelo, though, right now pretty calm conditions. MDOT traffic cameras looking nice there along Main Street 45. Not much of any slowdowns or backups, but yes, it is warm, it is muggy. Heat index values into the 90s. Actual temperatures low 80s down towards Columbus, 82 over towards Oxford. Of course, a little bit cooler where we are seeing some showers and thunderstorms. And Storm Tracker still has some of those holding on over the next couple of hours. 6:30, 7 o'clock. Most of those will fizzle out as we're looking closer to 10 p.m. Now, they're not completely gone because they move right back in for some early Saturday morning. We are waking up, heading out first thing in the morning there, 5 a.m. A lot of us still probably asleep at that point, but from Houston to Coffeyville, some of those western counties see a few more thunderstorms starting to pop up. That continues on and off through your morning, picking up with that daytime heating of your midday and into the afternoon. We'll actually see some sunshine, so it's not a washout for your Saturday. It's definitely that kind of day, though, that you need that WTVA weather app. Keep a check on that radar, maybe have those notifications turned on for that lightning. Scattered showers, thunderstorms through the afternoon. Some of those stick around even into your Sunday. Not a lot for your morning, but that picks back up through the afternoon. You can see some of those trying to move in. Now we'll also have some rainfall move in late Sunday going into your Monday from our north and west. Saturday with a few of those thunderstorms, still could see some of those on the heavier side with that flooding rainfall risk. And Sunday we have that severe weather risk back up towards Tennessee, Arkansas. As those move in, it looks to weaken slightly, but still something to make sure you are staying aware because, of course, a lot of folks wanting to be out for the weekend. Sunday is Father's Day, so if you have any of those plans, just make sure you are staying careful. Rain chances stick around on and off into the beginning of next work week. Temperatures, though, still very warm and muggy. Heat index values going to be well into the 90s, so just make sure you are staying cool.